Hey, hey! All right, well, here we are for another episode of Illustration Masterclass, and thank you for joining me. I am Kyle Webster, and I am your host for today. Now, this is a fun one. We're going to talk about what makes a character design cute. Okay, we're just going to break down the ingredients, the specific things that go into designing a character that just makes people go, aww, okay, where does that come from? What's the magic formula? Very easy, actually. We'll look at a few of those things, and you'll be off to the races designing your own cute characters in no time at all. I want to say hi to folks that are joining us over here from Behance, if you're watching over on YouTube or Twitter. Remember that I'm following the chat over on Behance. That is be.net/Adobe Live. You should see that pop up on your screen here in a sec. And if you don't, write it down, be.net/Adobe Live or behance.net/live or be.net/live. To be or not to be. Easy to remember. What's up, Jane? Nice to see you. Hey, Gus. What's up, Gus? And Megan. Is it Megan or Megan? I always forget. Wade is here. Cryo is here. And I see Anaisa. Nice to see you. Hey, Steve. Thanks for joining us, folks. Everybody piling in for some cuteness action today. I'm going to be drawing for you in Photoshop. Going to head on over right now to Photoshop, and we're going to get cracking. You can see over here to the right, I'm just giving it away right up front, folks. You can see a list of proportions. We're going to talk about the proportions, and we have a few characters here for you to enjoy that are classic, cute characters. Okay, we're going to take a look at these one by one, and we're going to break down some of the things that make them cute. And then we're going to draw. I'm going to draw, because it is Halloween coming up, a cute vampire. I'm going to draw a cute vampire for you today. I'm going to use these tricks, and we'll do a little character design together, okay? Hey, Axel, thanks for joining us. Nice to see you. And Linda, hello, hello. Misty's here as well. Howdy do. Gareth, thank you for joining us as well. All right, so what do you say? Shall we get cracking? Let's break it down. Okay, let's break it down. Now, Thumper, right here from the old Disney cartoon Bambi. We have Hello Kitty. We have Stitch or Lilo, whichever one it is. I can't ever remember which one's which. I think these are called Powerpuff Girls or something, right? Wasn't that a thing? And then we have the Baby Yoda here, Grogu. And we have Baymax, and then we have Pusheen. These characters are all different, but they're actually all the same. Okay, and I'll show you what I mean. We're going to start with head to body proportions, okay? Now, there's one exception here, and that is our friend Baymax. But let's just take a look at this, okay? And I'm going to grab a little marker to draw with here. Let's see now. What do I want? We got so many options. Oh, brushes galore. I think I'll head over to the David Bowie brushes. I believe I put some markers in there. Or, you know, actually, I'll tell you what. The Keith Haring brushes have a nice marker in them. I'm going to grab that marker. Here it is. The old brush marker. I like this one. Size it down just a touch like this. Grab a little blue because it's a nice color to draw with. And there you go. So check it out, gang. Check it out. We're talking about head to body first, right here. Head to body. Okay? Now, Thumper. Hello Kitty. Powerpuff, right? Lilo/Stitch, whatever. Grogu. Skipping our friend Baymax here for a moment, and we're looking at Pusheen, who barely even has any kind of distinction between head and body. But we'll talk about that. All right, now what's the thing you notice about body for each of these characters? Well, you know, let's start with Hello Kitty. Okay, we're talking like about this much real estate for a head and about this much real estate for a body. Where do you see that? Where do you see that out in the world? Well, let's think about it. Baby animals and baby humans, a lot of them when they're born, head to body, you're looking at kittens, you're looking at puppies, okay? What do you see? You see a larger head, okay, and a smaller body, or it's sort of 1-to-1, or maybe 1 to 2/3, or something like that. Or it could be 1 to 1.5. These are all relationships where the head is larger than the adult version of that creature. Okay, this is key. Not required, because as you know, Baymax is considered a cute character, but there are other things that go into Baymax that make Baymax cute. Some of the things, though, that Baymax will share with these other characters, and when you see what that thing is, you're going to be like, gosh, it's so easy to make cute characters. All right, so that's the first thing. We're looking at head to body. So give yourself a big head here for a character, right? Do this. And then we give it, you know, a small body. And you're kind of off to the races right there with the beginnings of what could be a very cute character, okay? So that's the first thing we want to point out and look at, head to body proportions, okay? Excellent. All right, so that's number one. Check that off the list, all right? And we'll just go ahead and lasso all this up, riding on my digital horse here, throwing a lasso out. A lasso, as I believe the English say. Am I right about that? And we'll put that over there, okay? And we'll mark that as number one, okay? Now, let's look at the second one, eyes to head. So now we're getting a little more specific. We're getting inside of the proportions of the head, the face, okay? And we're gonna look at what it is that makes the face cute, okay? Hey, Jamie, thank you for joining us. Nice to see you. It's Stitch, says Megan/Megan. Sorry, I keep messing up your name. Hey, D, thanks for joining us. Okay, so that's the one. It's Stitch. Listen, I saw that movie when it came out, what, 20 years ago? Longer? Whatever. Bobby, hey, thank you for joining us. So glad you're here. Megan. Okay, I'm getting it right. Okay, thanks for the correction. We're looking at eyes to head. Eyes to head. So, what's the deal here? Well, you have options. I'm not going to say you have to do big eyes, but big eyes go a long way, okay, towards making a character cute. Look at our friend Thumper here. Look at those big old eyes right there, okay? We're going to pass over here Hello Kitty for a moment, but there's another thing I want to talk about with eyes with Hello Kitty, and this is going to be really important to talk about with facial proportions and the arrangement of the facial features, okay? Now, this is just insane. All right, look at the size of these eyes. Okay, almost no white of the eyes to speak of. Enormous irises. Very important to mention that, okay? All iris right here, and also very large eyes. Big ol' eyes for baby Yoda, okay, for Grogu. Not bad, decent size, but again, Baymax is the exception, but not really when you see what we're going to talk about later. I'm gonna keep teasing you with that. And of course, you know, similar to Hello Kitty, we have this very simple circle design for the eyes for Pusheen. All right, now what does all this mean? Okay, well, let's just, here, I'm gonna get rid of all the markups that I'm making here, and we'll talk about it here, okay? Let's come over here, and let's take another stab at drawing a character. Okay, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna do that. Okay, and this one I'm gonna have some like little ears off to the side, whatever. And let's do some eyes. Now look, here are some options, okay? Eyes. What is interesting and important about these eyes? And I'll tell you. All right. Number one, spacing, okay? The space between the right and left eye here, okay? We're leaving a lot of space here in the middle between the eyes. One of the things you'll notice with a lot of character designs where the character is cute, quote unquote, right, is that the eyes get pushed to the edges of the face. Not always, but this is one of those reliable formulas you can use. You see it here, okay, with Stitch. Here, I mean, there's nothing to talk about because it's mostly eyes, but even so, decent amount of space in between given the size of those things, okay? And then with Grogu, less space in between, but still big eyes and not leaving a lot of real estate on the sides. Okay, so they're occupying quite a bit of room here. All right. Now we see a similarity, don't we? This is where we're starting to get into the Baymax formula for cuteness, okay? Eyes very far apart from one another. Pushed out to the edges, okay? And once again, the shape, okay, we're going to talk about the shape in a minute, but that's very important. Same with our friend Pusheen. Look at the distance between these eyes. Now, if you've heard me talk before about things like the Andrew Loomis proportions people are used to using with that model of the head, where you have your shaved off edges there, okay, and you drop down, and you've got your 1/3, 2/3, okay, and 3/3, right, this, and then here in the middle, this is your hairline, by the way. If anyone's not done the Loomis stuff before, you've got this bisected area here. Actually, I'm messing this up, sorry, it's been a while. There we go, 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, and 3. And if you know what happens here with eyes, the eyes wind up being basically, put them under the brow, sorry, here we go. They wind up being about one eyeball separated from one another, okay? Now, this is very different from what we're looking at here with these cartoon characters. Here we go with my eyeballs. Okay, 5 across is kind of the general rule. All right, this is for a normal, so to speak, human head. And I'll go ahead and I'll show you what that looks like here. So if I were to like finish this out, eye, eyebrow, eyebrow. Okay, here we go to the nose, there's the mouth. Okay, and there you have like a sort of standard adult human head. Okay, now with that head, right, you'll notice that we are not taking those eyes and throwing them all the way out to the edges, and they're not enormous, okay? And this means that, you know, the average adult is not quote unquote as cute, okay, as a baby or as a cartoon character that we're looking at here, etc. Okay, not the same kind of a deal. Those are the standard proportions we're dealing with. Look at the difference between this and this, okay? Right? Big difference here. So, size of the eyes, okay, and placement of the eyes. Now let's talk about the shape, all right? What do you see? Well, when you're drawing these cute characters, one of the things you'll notice is the roundness of the eyes. Always approaching something like a really a perfect circle or an oval, okay? Or some part of the eye will have a really perfect curve in it. Okay, so when you see like an evil character, right, you're gonna see this kind of thing, angled up and down, and little tiny irises, okay? And this will be the baddie in the story, right? Eyebrows coming down and arching upwards, you know, this kind of thing. There's that baddie in the story. Blech. Okay? But when you have these cutesy wootsy characters, you don't see that at all, do you? You see this kind of a shape. You see something like this, nice little oval. Okay, you see something like up like this and then like that. Okay, you see a perfect kind of a circle. And anything in between, you know, lots of space for a big old iris. A lot of times the iris will be sort of sitting a little more kind of towards the inside corner of the eye. Okay, big old pupil, multiple reflections frequently. Okay, there's a cuter eye. And you take that eyebrow and you set it up higher, okay, and make it a little lighter. All right, so if we take some, for example, a shape like this, all right, we take this and we slide it on over here and we go ahead and flip it horizontally, duplicate it, all right, and we do something like that. Now you're starting to get into cute territory, okay, see that? Now you're starting to get into cute territory for those eyes. Okay, now, while we're talking about this, we talked about shape, we talked about spacing. Let's talk about placement of the eyes on the head. All right, now often what you'll see with the placement of the eyes in a cute character, and this is where you can now start talking about like Hello Kitty. You're not gonna see big eyes here, but what are you seeing? Massive amount of space, okay, pushing them out to the sides. And notice the placement of the eyes. If I look at the total height of the head here, see this? Where do the eyes sit? Below the halfway mark, okay, for the total height. See that? So you're giving yourself a lot of forehead space. You're making that forehead big. All right, now let's come down and look at our friend Stitch here. What do you see? Same thing, okay? That chin, there we go. Same thing, same thing. Here we go. There are those eyes, nice and low, okay? Draw with a color you can really see there. See that? Look at those proportions right there, okay? What about here? Massive eyes, but still, okay, plenty of space up here, right? Even though we're covering with hair. All right. Look at our friend Grogu here. Here's our total space to work with. There are the eyes. Okay. Baymax is an exception again, but we're going to talk about some other things about Baymax that make Baymax cute. Pusheen, who knows where the head ends, but I'm going to assume it's about here. Okay. And there we go. Alrighty. So, placement. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to take, for example, okay, these eyes, and I'm going to move upwards and give myself a bunch of space, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to set them nice and low, okay, and I'm going to push them out to the edges here. We're going to do this. All right, we're going to pull on up like this. And now what I've done is I've given this character a lot of forehead space, okay, all this real estate here, okay. And so that really kind of is covering it for the eyes. I think we're going to come back to them a little bit, but I want you to look at the placement of the eyes, okay, the total real estate of the head, especially looking from the height, and then think about the shape of the eyes, think about the spacing between the eyes, and these are some things to consider. Okay, but this is going to lead us now, and we're ticking off some boxes here. Okay, we talked about forehead, but there's something I didn't mention here, and that's going to come down to this. It's about the nose, but it's actually important to mention this. This is having to do with the arrangement of the features of the face as regards the nose, and that is the placement of the nose relative to the eyes. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at that, starting with our friend Hello Kitty. Now what I want you to notice is that if I draw a line straight across like this, the nose is just barely underneath that line. Okay, now let's look at a standard adult head. All right, you're going to have eyes, okay, here we go, eye, and usually nose is going to sit somewhere about here, okay, bump. Now look at how much space we have there, okay. Now, here's what we're going to do. We're going to look at some babies. Aha, now wait a second. What makes babies so cute? Check this out. Notice that, if I'm to draw on top of this as well, okay, look at this. We're going to line up, sorry, here we go. We're going to line up the eyes here, and then look at the nose, right? Super close to one another. Now, as this child grows, that nose is going to come down to here eventually, probably, all right? And you're going to notice then that the cuteness factor is diminished, all right? Same here, what do we have? Big eyes, okay? Space between the eyes, nose, and I'm looking at the tip of the nose, okay, not nostrils, because this head is tipped upwards a little bit. There's that space right there, and then look at the size of these foreheads. Okay, you can't see the whole forehead here, right? But big forehead, and then look how much room is left for the rest of the face there. Okay, excellent. Now here too, even though this is under bangs, okay, the hairline's probably about here, right? A lot of good space. Space between the eyes, okay? Nose close to that line, right? So this brings up our placement of the nose for this imaginary character. The higher up I move it, okay, so that it sits almost in between even the eyes, okay, the cuter the character usually becomes. All right, now let's take a look at some examples of this. The nose here for Stitch is actually level with the eyes. See that? Sits right in the middle. Adorable. Grogu, same thing. Look at this. Okay, you push that nose up, you get a cuter character. Pusheen, mouth and nose stuck in between the eyes. You see a lot of that with the what's it called? Somebody help me with the Japanese word kawaii. Kawaii for cuteness, right? The cute character designs, right? Like Hello Kitty as well. We're looking at Hello Kitty here, and we're seeing the same kind of thing where really that nose is falling almost in line, right? Now Thumper's got his head angled down, okay? But if you're looking at Thumper when he's got his head facing towards us, that nose comes up, right? And notice that the shape containing the eyes, even for Thumper, feels almost like it's part of the eye design, right? And that helps to give us a larger shape to work with for the eye region. Really helps as well. Big forehead. We're talking about all this stuff, and it's all coming into play. Okay, see that? So yeah, there's a little thing you can do right there. We'll go ahead and we'll take this nose and hide it for a moment, because the next thing I want to mention is I'm just skipping over the hands, feet, and limbs and cheeks for a moment. Talk about how the nose is sometimes non-existent. This is another thing that makes characters cute. Why? Listen, folks, noses are big honking things on the face that most of the time they don't look that great. That's just the way it is. We're used to seeing them. We're used to seeing people's noses. But if you look at a character like a, character design that has no nose, the cuteness factor just gets bumped right up, because you focus more on the eyes and the expressive mouth and the big forehead and the other cuteness and the wideness of the head and all that business, right? How often do you see a character, speaking of the wideness of the head, jumping back for a moment to head proportions, how often do you see a cute character that doesn't have something of a squished round head, okay? Compressed from the top to the bottom, right? Or something approaching sort of a circular design, right? Look at babies' heads. See that? Circle, circle. Okay? They're round, right? You get it to be an adult, and things start to stretch out and get longer. Okay, and you get more kind of this sort of a face, sort of a shape, right? Get your big fat ears there because you're growing up and your ears get bigger and all this kind of stuff, right? And then you've got an adult head, right? Not so cute anymore. We're not so cute as adults, right? We wind up being not so cute. Okay? See the difference there? Baby heads, baby heads. We're just gonna take them and you're gonna do this. You're gonna make like a round kind of a shape. You got big eyes out here, right? And you pop this up to extend it for the forehead, right? You got the big cheeks there, little nose, mouth, come straight across down the bottom for the chin, because they haven't yet, got that big jaw growing in. And there is the difference, okay? There's a little baby head. Look at the baby next to this guy. I mean, come on. All right, so think about the shape of the head as well, right? You're not usually stretching out a head like this and it having a cute character. I mean, you can try, you can do this, right? You can still try and use some of these ingredients and it's fine, right? But not quite the same as, taking all this and just doing this, taking this, and doing that. See what happened there? Instant cutification. Okay, so think about that. Is cutification a word? Probably not. Alrighty. So yeah, nose, sometimes non-existent, jumping back to that for a moment. So the nose, if you just eliminate it altogether, a lot of times you get a cute character. Isn't that weird? So of course we're doing that here, no nose whatsoever, right? Now of course they could always do something like that. It wouldn't be the end of the world. But look how tiny I made it, right? Teeny tiny, out of the way. There are exceptions. You can make a big nose and that can make the character cuter, right? But look at the shape. Let's be very mindful of this, okay? What is this reminiscent of? What animal does this make you think of? Think about it, think about it. What animal do we all think is super cute? What is it? It's a koala bear, right? Yes. Jane says, and this is why I have not been cute since I was 3 months old. Nonsense, Jane. All right, all right. Gonna check here really quickly and see if we have any questions. Hey, thanks, Kate. Glad you're enjoying it. Glad you're enjoying this overview of Cuteness Factor. Hey, Francis. Yeah, Baby Yoda, genius marketing. I agree, Steve. Less nose, more eyes, big forehead, and hamster cheeks, and tiny chin. Yeah, kind of nailed it right there, right? All right, so yeah, what are we getting here? This is like a koala. So if you've ever seen a koala bear, you know that they've got these noses in the middle, right? And then they've got the eyes off to the sides like this. And that's a koala face, okay? And so, you know, if you think about it, Stitch borrows a lot from what makes koala bears cute. And they've got their fuzzy little ears out to the side here, right? And then they don't have much going on in the way of a mouth and down there, all that business, right? So that's kind of one of the things you see with a koala, and that's kind of what makes them kind of cute. All right, so that nose is just sort of honking, big fat nose in the middle, but super cute, and that's just kind of how it works. Okay, part of that is the proportions. They're lined straight up in between, okay, the eyes, right? They're not sitting way down below. All right, so there you go. A lot of times if you notice, like if you see some evil character in a Disney movie or whatever, they'll have their eyes like this, and they've got the tiny little irises, and a lot of times they'll take their nose and angle it downwards, you know, kind of point it down like this. Flare the nostrils, and then, you know, they can have like a stretched kind of a face like this. And that could be the design for, you know, an evil character. We basically see what we're doing here. We're kind of like doing the opposite of everything we did with the cute, the cute character, right? We make the forehead small. Sharper features, less roundness. Think about that, right? Think about the curvilinear lines, the curvilinear and all that. Here we go sharp and spiky, right? Sharp. Okay, sharp point of the nose there, pointy. Sharp shapes. See the difference? This guy is probably not the good guy in the show or whatever, right? See what I mean? Long skinny neck, right? A lot of cute characters, and they just do away with the neck altogether. No neck. Definitely no neck here with Pusheen, right? So evil. Okay, set him aside. And remember that he is not our friend, okay? Okay, so now let's move on. We've talked a little bit about all this other stuff now. Noses, yeah, we covered a lot of that territory. Cheeks, well, some other people touched on this, obviously, in the chat. But, I mean, come on. Look at baby's cheeks, right? Round. Okay, a lot of cheek space, a lot of round shapes again. Okay, so that's really going to be something that goes a long way. Okay, we're going to use them here to our advantage. Okay, now here with Baymax, this is where you're starting to get this impression of, you know, something kind of cute with the cheeks, because it's just all round, right? Everything here is round. And we can just sort of imagine cute cheeks right there. Okay. Obviously, they play this up with Thumper, who is really just kind of a cartoonified human baby with ears, you know, and fur. Okay, so, you know, that's kind of how I feel about that character design. Brilliant design. All right, so back to this character then. We didn't talk about ears, but, you know, if it's a human character, small. Okay, you just tuck them in. Right, you tuck them in. I can add a little space up here, and I can do like some bangs, right? Never hurts to have some more sort of round, big shapes like this. Okay, we're adding a little bit of size and weight up there at the top so that we can expand that area, okay? See that? We can do a little nose. And remember, just throw proportions out the window here for a regular person, because that's not what we're aiming for. This is not the point of these exercises, to make things like correct proportion-wise, right? And another thing you can do here, now this is great. You have flexibility with a mouth, okay? As long as it's small. So I could put it down here, right? Maybe the character's not happy, something just happened like this. Okay, but you can also do this. You put it all the way up there if they're smiling. Right, you have all this room to play with. It's not really what our mouths do, but it's a cartoon, right? We're doing character design here, so we can do this kind of stuff all day long. Hey, hey, right? Hey, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. We've got the giant eyes, okay? We've got all this other stuff working for us, so we have some flexibility there. Okay, now if it's an animal, okay, I can still leave some of this stuff here. Right, but I can get rid of some of this. And I can use the same space here. Do more sort of an animal nose there. And then we're gonna come here and just throw those big cat ears right there. And now we've got a different character altogether. We can add a bit of cheek stuff there if we want, and there you go. Okay. This should be more like this, actually, if I'm going to get really picky about it. But okay. Starting to get the picture for how we do this. Ba-bum, 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 ba-bum. Start to clean up our shapes here, and we're starting to get somewhere with a character. Okay. So there you go. Let's shrink that down. Put it there. And then let's move along. Okay, so next on our list, we talked about some cheeks, right? We got the nose, hands, feet, and limbs. Well, talked a little about this at the beginning, right? Didn't we? Proportions for the body to the head. What do you notice about these characters, right? I don't even see any hands here. I don't know how she's going to grab onto stuff. But what we try and do is we try and take, right, the limbs and we just shrink them down and we sort of fatten them up a little bit, okay? Look at this. Hello Kitty, same deal, same deal, same deal, right? Simplify, simplify. Basically, it's like a lot of these characters don't even have points of articulation. When something bends, it's just kind of a round shape where that happens, okay? So you're not seeing bones sticking out. You're not seeing evidence of like real skeletal structure. That stuff is there, right? Because you have to make things move in a sort of believable way, depending on the design of the character. There are exceptions. Pusheen, if you were to look at Pusheen's skeleton, it would just be a mess. Like, I don't even understand how it works. There are images you can find of Pusheen where the front paws are like all the way down here. Okay, because he, whatever, is sitting like this. And so I don't know how these got all the way down there, but that doesn't matter. It's a character design choice, right? What matters is they're tiny. They're tiny little hands and feet, and that makes them super cute on this big round body, right? Tiny, funny little tail popping out. All these things, this is what makes that character work, okay? But if you want to look at a character that really has to move in a more believable way from any angle, then you've got something like Stitch. But even here, okay, Chris Sanders is thinking, okay, well, these legs can look like this sometimes, but other times, you know, there can be a bit of a bend, right? But that bend is still got to kind of flow, right? There's a bend here, but it's going to flow into the body as the character sort of launches forward in some way, right? So there's always this thought of like, how can I take what's going on under the skin and sort of beanbag it, right? Like make this sort of shape that flows out, right? It's got a clean line of action, right? But it's like everything's kind of beanbag. You know, you take a beanbag and just make the beanbag kind of move for you, right? So there's a squash and a stretch kind of thing happening there, but all the shapes just kind of get simplified and rounded out so that, you know, this is what you're gonna get from that, okay? See what I mean? Rather than, you know, what would happen with a human arm bending with the elbow popping out there, and then, you know, evidence of the forearm and everything else coming out from there, and bling, 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 blum, boom, all this other business, okay? Like, that's not what you want to see with a cute character, okay? You don't want to see tricep and bicep and all this other crazy business and the delts and whatever. I'm screwing it up because I'm just trying to go too fast, but see what I mean? That is not cute. This is the opposite of cute, okay? This is bony and muscly, and that is not what we want, okay? This is what we want right here. So keep that in mind as well, okay? Speaking of, this brings us back to Baymax. Okay, now let's review some things. 1, shape of the head, right? Nice squashed circle, oval, sphere, whatever, okay? Eyes, far apart, okay? Lack of nose, lack of mouth, don't need them. So what do you get? You get the cute eyes, you get the shape, and then what happens to the body? Well, look, okay? Totally shortened, compressed legs, okay? And the arms, you say, but they're really long. Yeah, but hold on a second. Look at this egg of a body. That's cute. That's round shapes. And then you got these cute, funny little sausage fingers popping off with absolutely no point of articulation for the wrist, right? That's evident. Same with the elbows. Everything just kind of flows and bends. It's that whole beanbag concept. But the thing now we're finally going to reveal about Baymax that makes Baymax super cute is what? Personality. When you watch the movie and watch how Baymax behaves and moves and does everything Baymax does, there's a cuteness factor to it, okay? Like little tiny steps, walking and moving, all right? The way the arms and legs move, and the interaction with the other characters. So there's another thing you can do. There's this whole other element, this other layer, I should say, of cuteness that you can add in the behaviors of the character that you're designing, and Baymax really nails that. Okay, but there are some rules here that we follow, right? Space between the eyes, pushing out to the ends of the head, eliminate the nose. In this case, they don't need a mouth. The roundness of the forms, right? Baymax doesn't look dangerous, right? Things that are sharp and angular look dangerous, right? Sharp, 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 sharp. Everything here, okay? Cheeks jutting out, right? Sharp shapes for the hair. All this stuff, that's different, okay? This is round and soft. This is round and soft. Babies are round and soft, okay? This is what we're talking about, all right? So there you go, all right? Last note about hands and feet, I'll say usually small is better. Obviously, if you're drawing Thumper, the whole thing about the feet is cute because whatever, that's part of the character, thump, thump, thump with the feet. But look at the other characters, okay? Small by comparison, tiny little hands, non-existent hands, right? Small, 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 ridiculously small, small, okay? Can't even see the feet, but a lot of times that's what you do. And if you have these chunky little legs like this, if you have a character like this, you can do this. You can just make the foot just be this little bump of a shape down at the bottom, okay? And that's enough for it to work, right? You don't want to go there and be like, oh, I'm gonna throw in a nice heel there and, you know, give it some big toes and all that. That's less cute, okay? So you ready? Let's do it. We're gonna design a sort of a vampire, cute little vampire. And we're gonna follow these rules, okay? So before I begin, let's check and see if we have any questions. Chubby, doughy cuties like a donut. Yep, donuts are a perfect example. You make drawing look so easy, says Gabrielle. Well, that's very kind, thanks. I'm glad you're learning something new today. What's up, Z? Mogwai, yeah, Mogwai's follows exactly the same rules. Very cute. Let's see. Just checking, want to make sure I have no questions unanswered. Oh yeah, Gabrielle, if you haven't seen the Draw Along show, there are about 150 episodes and then some, which you can follow along with. Every one of those is 10 minutes long, the Draw Along section. And there's some other stuff in there, some art education, some tips for drawing, and a little game at the end where I take suggestions from the audience. I loved doing that show. It was really fun. So go back and check those out. So let's do it. Here we go. You ready? Okay, so Halloween, vampire. What am I going to do? Well, first, I'm just going to make a roundish kind of a shape. Okay, basically a circle. I'm going to give myself a center line. Okay, so I know what I want to do. And I'm going to take this eye line, I'm going to move it down right here. See that? Moving it down. So what am I doing here? What's the first thing I'm doing? Giving myself a lot of forehead space right here. A lot of forehead space. Okay, I'll zoom in so you can see this. Actually, I'll do this on a separate layer. There we go. Okay, there. So that's going to be the start. Now, we talked about eyes, right? So I'm going to set these eyes off here, far away from one another, 1 and 2. Okay, I'm going to set the nose right here in the middle. Okay, and it's going to be, look, close to that center line for the eyes. Already we're doing that. Now, for that section where the eyes are going to exist, like the kind of eye area that's been sort of outlined, if you look at Thumper, right, you've kind of got this whole designated area here for eyebrow/eye, for like, you know, how you can express everything. A lot of animators use this method for sort of containing the eyebrow/eye area, and it's really what it is kind of like the ocular cavity of the skull, if you think about it. Okay, it's this region you can play with and squash and stretch and just keep everything working in proportion. Okay, but I'm going to take that and I'm going to set the eyebrows right there. They're going to angle downwards slightly because it is a Halloween character and it is a vampire. Okay, so we're going to have a little bit of a sort of an evil look. But nothing like, you know, a full-grown baddie vampire, if you will. Okay, so there's some eyes right there. Now for the nose, I'm going to give him just the tiniest little bit of a hook of a nose. Now if it's his dad, right, I do this. Like, ooh, big, scary, big hook. Like that. Okay? But I'm not going to do that. No, what I'm going to do is a tiny little version of that. I'm going to go like this. Ba-dink, ba-dink. Just like that. Whoop. Little tiny nose like that. Okay? And then for the mouth, I'm going to set it right here, just underneath. Okay? And I'm going to have some little fangs right there, popping out. Okay? Now, as I get to the bottom here, I'm going to take that chin and I'm going to compress it like this. And move that this away. Pop that cheek out right there. I'm going to move these eyebrows even further up, actually, like this. So I can keep those in line. And just erase away a bit so I know what I'm doing. I don't know if you all can hear the violin right now, but it kind of suits what I'm drawing. It's kind of got a bit of a Halloween-y kind of sound to it. But many of you who've watched my shows in the past know that my kids play violin often during the time when I do my shows. So my son right now is practicing his piece. Speaking of which, oh my gosh, Joshua Bell, probably the greatest living violinist. I mean, I think I can say that. Came to town recently, gave a concert, we went to see him, and then afterwards I said, come on, we gotta stick around, wait by the stage, maybe he'll come out. And about 10 minutes later, sure enough, out he came, and was so kind and so sweet and greeted everybody. And then my son got to talk to him, and he signed his program, and he asked him what pieces he was playing, and he was just so lovely. Lovely, lovely person. Thank you, Joshua Bell, for that amazing experience. Both of our kids were just kind of amazed by that whole thing. It really got them charged up for the week with playing their instrument. You know, it makes a huge difference when you meet somebody like that. You see how they play, and it's just so amazing. And then you kind of have this renewed sort of I don't know what the right word is, but yeah, you're motivated to really go for it, you know? Because you see what's possible. All right, there we go. Now, for the hair. Gonna do this. Carry that around. Then come back. Remember, tiny ears. So there we go, little tiny ears. Okay. And there's the beginning of our little guy. I'll get rid of that nose. Okay, now remember the proportions we looked at over here, okay? Body proportions. What do we do? No neck. Don't even bother. Okay? And I'm gonna have his arm coming up here. Tiny little arm. Okay? And he's gonna be holding onto the cape there. Cape's gonna be wrapped around here like this. I'm gonna bump over the face here, you know, pulling it up in front of him, you know, like this. The other arm is going to be holding the cape like this. Remember what I said about feet? Teeny tiny foot right there. Do this, pull that up like this. It's getting bunched. And the other foot is going to be right there. Move that ear down here. I think it's a little cuter like that. And I think I'll pull this up a bit more right here, just to increase that real estate, and then pull this down like that. Excellent. Okay, so there's a little sketch. All right, now we've kept in mind what? Spacing between the eyes, size of the eyes, shape of the eyes, round, not sharp, right? The nose, which I can now do this, I can take it, make it even smaller and pull it up just a hair. Like that. I can even take that mouth, pull it up, see what that does? By getting those close together, even cuter. I can puff that cheek out a little bit. These are all the little tricks we talked about. All right, let's knock that back. And we'll go ahead and we'll grab our Belgian Comics brush from the Mega Pack. Okay, we'll go to ink box. And we'll grab that Belgian Comics. There it is. Okay. Love drawing with this brush. And let's come in here. And I'm going to crank up the smoothing because I'm sort of drawing under the gun here. Actually, here's what I want to do. I want to go like this. I can make that mouth even smaller, like this. Little tiny fangs. There's that little nose. Okay. I could even add some irises like that. And then we come around. Whoops, let's get that shape right. Ah, there we go. Okay, and our little collar there. Actually, he should have a little vest like this. That's better. And then the other arm is gonna grab the cape like that. And then we leave a nice sort of area here for reflection for the hair. Okay. I'm gonna fix this area here. And let's hide our sketch. Now the only thing that has to be done here is I have to clean up those eye shapes, right? And I can just carefully come around and round things out and make sure that, you know, all that stuff is cleaned up. Because, you know, I was in a hurry drawing that, but I can take my time and I can make sure that everything is nice and rounded out, right? And looking as it should and all that kind of stuff. This is the kind of stuff that if you're not in too much of a hurry when you're drawing, you can sort of get it right the first time, on the first pass. Okay, so as I'm always racing the clock with these shows, I sometimes get a little carried away and I just kind of try and nail it. Okay, but that's the beautiful thing working in Photoshop. I have the ability to go back in and I can be really picky about stuff. And then finally, I just do this. Add a little reflection like that. And there you go, folks. Cute little character right? We followed all the rules. We studied the rules first. We learned the rules, and then we set about using them in our little character design for this Halloween vampire. Now, if you really want to get cute, you know, give him a couple little hairs sticking out back there. Okay, why not? Hey, hope you enjoyed that. Watch it back if you missed the beginning. Lots of good stuff in there for you to learn how to make cute characters. It's great because there's a formula. You can follow the formula, and you can play around with parts and bits and pieces of it, and you'll figure it all out. But I really hope you enjoyed that, everybody. Have a great Halloween. Have a great weekend. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you next time. Take care, everybody. Take care of each other. Be kind. Ciao for now.